Welcome everybody to Sloan Cold Facts. I'm Marcus Sloan, your host. It's Chris Hines. Today we have a special Sloan Cold Facts from Dallas, Texas. The Big D, Triple D, my second home. And as you can see, we have two of the best creative guys in the country.
Thanks.
We got my guy Mike Timmons right here with Texas Hoops TV.
What's up? What's up?
And we got my guy Ryan Parker, FreeKeyThree. These two guys have single-handedly changed the way people view Texas basketball, whether you want to believe it or not. Texas basketball is where it is on a national scale because of these two guys and other guys, obviously, but these two guys are at the front of the list, at the head of the table. First, I'm going to start with my guy Mike Timmons, San Antonio Commerce Judson High School graduate. Played collegiately at UT Dallas.
Yes, sir.
I met Mike probably in 2015 to 16. So Mike Timmons works for the oldest and the longest tenured grassroots events company in the state of Texas, arguably even in the country, with the Great American Shootout, Gasso, Texas Hoops. I met Mike in 2016. I just started coaching with the Defenders. I mean, actually with the Hoops, 7th, 8th grade group, and then that next year I went to Defenders. But anybody in this state, any player, NBA, All-Star, any Fox, Jared Vanderbilt, Tyrese Maxey, Drew Timmy, Andrew Jones, anybody in this state who could play, Greg Brown, this guy's been filming him. He has filmed him on the baseline. Avid golfer, top 3 Tiger Woods fan. He's not 3. Big time dude, man. Literally, when I think about what he's done for Texas Hoops, Gasso, he single-handedly has changed their brand, to be honest. I'm going to keep it 1,000. Sure. I think he's done with the video camera, with the YouTube page, even with the branding. No disrespect to those guys, Blue and Sam, they're great guys. Mike has taken them to another level with some of the stuff he's done. And I'm going to give you flowers and give you a props for that, for sure.
Appreciate that, bro.
You have helped them remain relevant and stay at a certain level to where, to be honest, all of us are, quote-unquote, chasing Gasso. And Mike has helped elevate the standard. Mike, kind of talk about your background a little bit and like what made you want to get into videography.
Yeah, man. So like you said, from San Antonio. I live in Dallas, so we're going to claim it.
Okay.
But from San Antonio originally. Played at a high level with Judson. We were 36-2 my senior year. I think 8 of us went on to play college basketball at various levels. Okay. I went JUCO my first year. Had the grades, but didn't have the mindset. Thought I was better than what I was. I was a Division III basketball player. I didn't have a jump shot. And now looking at things now as a 5'10" guard that can't shoot it, I'm just blessed to be able to play college basketball at any level. So went to UT Dallas. Okay. Very privileged to get into a program that did a lot of media stuff, web design. I got video, all that stuff. So, once I played in the Gassos in high school, I was able to, do clock and book like you see with Gassos. We have a lot of the college athletes. So I was able to do that in the summer. And just doing what I did, the only person back then that was doing anything was Brad from Ball Is Life. And so I'd sit at these Gassos, and back then it was just only the Gassos. So every single player was coming through there. Correct. So I went to Blue and Sam. I was like, hey, I'm about to graduate. Why don't we do something like the way Brad's walk around here? Why don't we just have something? Let's just try it.
And now, Mike, what year is this?
2014.
And so what
I
made you, know what I'm saying? Like, what made you want to, like, reach out to them? Because, we talked about this before. Players, we struggle. Yeah. And, like, making connections and reaching out to people like, hey, like, we need help, or how can I help you? How can I be of value? What made you want to stop them and talk to them about
Like I said, luckily I was a realist early. I knew, I just knew what it was. Yeah. And honestly, doing those clock and books, I remember they had a Gasso event, and I was always like, some of the guys they hired for clock and book would be late and go to sleep and like show up late. So they gave me the privilege to be at Duncanville High School Court 1, Keith Frazier, the Harrison twins. Daniel House came from the LeBron James Skills Academy, came right down. I was doing clock and books there. I'm like, man, I see Brad filming over there. I'm like, man, this is something that like I kind of want to do. I can stay around basketball. And Blue actually went to Judson as well, so he had known me before. So it wasn't like, hey, I went to the guys that were running the show.
Yeah.
I had a relationship with Blue, and we were like, that's where I came up with the Texas Hoops TV idea. And we kind of started it there. And that was in 2014. So my first year was De'Aaron Fox. You have the Elijah Thomases, when the Texas Titans with DJ, Tyler Davis, Juwan Evans came in from California, I believe, or not South Carolina.
Right. Yep.
So it was just loaded, and so I got in at a hot time. To where from there, I was able to be around these guys and really just grow the brand pretty quickly because there wasn't a lot of people doing it.
Yeah. So when you started Texas Hoops TV, what was your goal? Was it like, all right, I'm gonna just start to do this and kind of see where it's going, like? And when did you realize, like, yo, I can start making, like, I can monetize this?
Yeah, so that's something that I have a lot of good conversations with my younger videographers and people I've worked with. I tell them it's okay to be excited, because in the moment when I was young, I was excited to be filming these kids.
Yeah.
I would want to film 3 or 4 games and make 3 and 4 minute mixtapes on these kids and do all that. Yeah. So, but as I saw that, and as you start to get older, at the time I'm 23, 24, once it's really starting to grow, and as you get older, you change. I don't want to be in the gym filming 4 and 5 games. I want to get content out quicker. And based off that, I'm starting to just try to transition. And then, all of a sudden, parents are like, hey, could you film my kid? And now, it's not the 5 stars now. Now I'm like, man, I get excited filming these kids because I want them to have a good game. So my mind started to change. How do I create a brand that's sexy enough where I can host 5-star kids and kids that are just looking for the opportunity to play at the next level? So based off that, I was able to put a guy like Tyrese Maxey on my Twitter account, and then the next video might be a kid that might just be going to play NAI or Division III. And really, as you grow up, like, you see, okay, that's more of my purpose, that's my value. And at the time, then all of a sudden you see younger videographers come along, they want to do more mixtape stuff. So slowly I transitioned into what I thought was right. And that takes time because, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I didn't think, like, how do I make money off this? When I found out how to make money off it was Slam gave me an opportunity. So I started doing some games for Slam. They were paying me per game. At first I would send them the raw footage cut up like I do now with my game recaps. But then they told me, hey, go ahead and will you just upload it to the YouTube channel? And once they had me upload the games to the YouTube channel, now I had access to the analytics. So I'm seeing, oh, you're paying me that much and you're making this much on YouTube. So I was blessed enough to grow my career, some other things outside of the Gasso and Texas Hoops and things like that, to where I didn't need that money that they were paying me, and I can start to invest it in my own brand. Luckily enough with the Gasso guys, they were always like, Texas Hoops TV's yours. They were huge with that, pushing that forward. So then we get into the situation where, like, okay, what's going to be my niche? Because there's a lot of great videographers out here that do awesome things. Key, you're the best in the country at what you do in creative stuff.
It's really kind.
So for me, I'm like, man, if I'm Texas Hoops TV, how do I capture that? So these game recaps that I'm starting to come out with, no matter where you are in the state, if I'm at a game, you're going to get the full experience if you're watching that YouTube recap. And it's just a consistency thing, year after year after year. I'm 31 now. I started when I was 23, 8 years. We're here now, and it just continues to grow, and we're adapting to, just like all of us, we're adapting to what this grassroots landscape is.
And Mike, for a young videographer who may be just starting out, speak on the YouTube and the monetization. How did you say, what, I think, obviously you just spoke on the Slam thing, but how did you turn Gasso or Texas Hoops TV into something you can say, hey, like, no matter who it is, I can monetize it? Is it something to where, like, does it take time? Is it depend on who the kid is, or is it like, does it depend on the game or the matchups or the teams? How can a young videographer kind of get in, like, kind of monetize in the YouTube sector?
Yeah, well, the first thing I'll say is, like I said, when I was younger, everybody wants to be at the big game. But if you're young and you're in the same gym as me and Brad from Ball is Life,
you're not getting them clicks.
Who's watching that?
Yeah.
At the same time, and like, I'll talk my shit. I'm gonna beat you home and get it up before anybody else. It don't matter if I got some plans that night. If I know it's a big game, but that's where I've tried to set myself apart. I got to be fast. Because Slam used to say, Brad's one of my best friends in this industry.
Yeah.
When I was working for Slam and Brad was working for Ball's Life, we knew what time it was.
Yeah.
It was no dapping up because Slam expects me to get that game before Brad.
Shout out to Brad too. Brad definitely is in one of the
Absolutely.
go to this Texas basketball, the grassroots.
Right?
Yeah, he's a super OG.
And that's why he's so solid, because he'll give advice to everybody.
Yes,
he knew we were competitors, but he didn't care.
Right.
Yeah.
We're shooting the shit on the baseline. He just knows it is business. So I learned from him. You know, Slam kind of helped me with that work ethic of, hey, it has to be out first, or what are you doing? So a lot of times, you know, with these young videographers, I'll say, hey, I get that you want to be in the mix, and it is fun for the first couple times when a kid reshares your video, because that feels good. Yeah. So I never want to take that feeling from them. But at some point, you know, I try to put money in their pockets and show them, okay, yes, you may not be filming the 5-star kid, but you're getting paid to do this.
Yeah.
So at some point, I've seen it click for some kids, and some other young videographers, it just doesn't. But my advice is, you know, find your niche. You know, go to this court over here and create your own lane. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of these young videographers that make it, the easiest thing to do is, once you get excited about putting somebody else on that might not be put on, and genuinely feel that, from a videographer standpoint, I think is really, that's what can set you apart. Because once you get excited knowing that, hey, this kid doesn't get talked about enough, and I got this video of him going crazy, that satisfaction will keep you in this game a long time.
Yeah, sure. Mike, I didn't even know you were a basketball guy, or you played college basketball. So that, I mean, that's another, I guess, feather in your cap for me as far as the stuff you do.
Yeah.
So with you, I guess, like I said, impacting Gasso the way you have, was it a hard thing for you, like when you guys had these meetings, to like say, hey, I think this will work better if we do X, Y, Z? Because again, man, like your input has changed their trajectory. You know what I mean? So how does that, in those meetings when they listen to you and something works, what does that mean to you?
Well, shoot, first I'll give a shout out to Sam Lowe, who took the company over 3 or 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, he gets it, and he allows us. He knew that we had to get younger. He brought myself, Ryan Masson, in that does a lot of the business development. Yeah. So for him, it was on him to be like, okay, because one thing, you know, the gas was worked for a reason. For a long time. I mean, they're back in the days. You know, Sam's going.
Early 90s, late 80s even. Yeah.
Sam, when he started, would have to literally go to every single venue, write paper brackets, take the scores down, go back, post them on the main bracket, go back, and that's all he did. Yeah. There wasn't no call-in sites and all that stuff like that. So with those guys, you know, they have a tradition and it's worked. Yep. You know, Sam was smart enough as a businessman to understand, hey, things are changing. Mm-hmm. He's not necessarily saying, hey, let's do it the way everybody else is, but let's continue to see what's going on and how do we do it the Gasso way. Yeah. So most of the time we have ideas about getting better, and it's a no-brainer. He's like, I trust you. That's why you're here.
That's big.
So, I mean, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
Like I always say, if I didn't have the Gasso platform to be putting a little bit of money in my pocket, I couldn't have started Tech Soups TV the way I did. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why the advice, and that's why I say, you know, these people a lot of these videographers that come to these events, they're not making money. They're there for the love of it. Right. So I'll never criticize anybody that's just there when they could be spending time with family and things like that. But at the same time, while you're there, be learning what's going on and peep what's working for other people, so you can have a business plan. Yeah.
But
yeah, to answer your question, it really hasn't been tough conversations.
Okay.
You know, they have their ways of doing things, so I'll never, you know, I'm good at understanding what they need from me, and I'm not trying to change. I know what works.
Right.
So I'll go to them and say, hey, this is what we've been doing, but let's do it a little bit different, but still in the Gasso way.
Yeah. Ryan Parker, FreeKeyThree, these last, I would say, 2 to 3 years.
That's a bad boy over there.
No bullshit. No bullshit. Yeah, listen, there isn't a media company hotter than FreeKeyThree. You can look around the landscape. You can look in social media.
High praise, man.
You can look across the country. Really, man, like what FreeKeyThree has done in a short, very, very short period of time has been tremendous. I remember hitting them on social media like, yo, I kind of see some of the graphics you putting out. Like, you mind doing a graphic for me? And he put it out. I was like, hey, yo, this shit is. I always tell people, you gotta look the part.
Sure.
Right. It's what I call the McDonald's effect. They've done documentaries on McDonald's food. Yeah. This shit is terrible for your body. But the packaging of it and the branding of it, it makes people come back. And the convenience of it, right? So when Ryan created that flyer for me, I looked, it was like, oh, this shit is amazing. Now, mind you, I have been having events since 2009. I've had millions of flyers. But that flyer, when I saw it, I was like, yo, this is kind of special. And so that may have been in 2020?
2020, that fall of 2020,
yeah,
right?
so like when he created the flyer, I was like, yo, this shit is kind of different. And since then, he's made a quantum leap to the top of the game. So much to the point where like Paul Quinn University contacted him about doing the floor of their brand new basketball arena. That never happens. It has never happened. And not only did he get contacted, but when it was finished, it was one of the best floors in the country.
It went viral.
It went viral.
Yeah, it was wild, man. It was humbling, honestly.
It went viral.
Yeah.
You have set the bar for media in the country, honestly, in our state. You've worked with everybody, all the big dogs in the state of Texas, for sure. And now you're even working for universities.
Right.
They have contracted you and hired you to do their social media stuff. Rhino, how did you go in such a short period of time, not even 3 years, from starting where you started, former high school basketball coach, to now you're in the graphic space, now you're in the media space, now you're at this level where it's an all-encompassing FreeKeyThree conglomerate?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I really struck out on my own to do this 2020. I mean, we had just won a state championship at JP2, Jalen Tyson, the twins, Cam Corn. I mean, we had a phenomenal team, won 40 games, won a state championship. And I remember sitting down in April with my wife and kind of being like, man, like I've been at this 14 years now. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride, 1 year head coaching. And maybe God has something else for me besides this coaching thing. And I'd always done the marketing, social media, always done the branding, graphics for JP2, experience for JP2. We came in and we had a hype video on the Jumbotron that was 90s themed that went with what the fans wore and what was, just coordinating all these things. And it was like, hey, I'm gonna people always say you want to take a chance on yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Bet on yourself.
Yeah, right. I'm going to bet on myself and see what happens. So I just said, okay, I'm going to walk away from this coaching thing for a couple of years and see what happens. And I haven't looked back. It's been phenomenal. I'll tell you the moment I knew I had something is I was coaching at St. Mark's in 2016. We had a good team. We had 7 college athletes, no college basketball players, but 7 college. One college basketball player went to Cornell, Jack. But otherwise, we got a really good team. We won 27 games or so, 5th in the SBC. But the rivalry between St. Mark's and ESD is unlike anything I've ever seen in high school basketball. There's a lot.
Is the Episcopal
School of Dallas. That's right. Corey Henderson runs a great program. Obviously, I got tremendous respect for a Geiler and what he's done on the heels of Scott Jolly and what he did, with all those with the Achos and Chris McClain and all those dudes. But the rivalry's just it's rabid. It's 2 tiny private schools that you wouldn't even know existed if you didn't live in Dallas. Right. But you got kids just going nuts. And so we were at their place in 2016, which they got this 84-foot court that I freaking hate. It's like you go in there and they run like a 2-2-1 into a 1-3-1 into a 3-2. It's like they've eaten up all the, eat up the whole court just standing around on it. You can't get, there's no fast breaks. This whole thing has pissed me off. And so I'm like, what can we do to affect the game? So I went to the administration and said, hey, I want 250 shirts printed up. And they were like, okay, and they're like, what do you want on them? You just want St. Mark's? I was like, no, I want you to print really big. The only thing on is away court advantage. Instead of home court advantage, I want away court advantage. And and St. Mark's ESD is always a black-white game. So one team wears all white, one team wears all black, fans, everybody. And St. Mark's is always the team that wears white jerseys, and everybody in the fans wears white shirts. So we put away court advantage on these shirts, and we just handed them to every St. Mark's kid that came in the gym. And then when the game tipped, you looked up, and it's like 70% white shirts, right? Like we had coordinated like our fans better than their home. I mean, it was nuts. You know what I'm saying? And I remember thinking to myself, like, very few times in your life do you have a truly unique idea that doesn't come from anything else, right? Like, I look at a graphic and I want to recreate it. We look at videos that we really like that Kentucky does or whoever, David Soz does, right? This is phenomenal, you know. Even, you know, 94 feet, you know, with Bill, what's like on ESPN, right? Oh, yeah. We all recreate that kind of stuff. Yeah. But like a few times in your life, you'll have a truly unique idea. And I don't think anyone has ever come up with the idea away court advantage ever. I don't think it's ever been done. Yeah. And I was like, this is, I was like, this is it, man. Like this, and we won that game on a buzzer beater 3. Oh wow! Like on the heels of that, and so like it was phenomenal. I knew I had something from the marketing standpoint that moment, you know. And so since 2016, has sort of been, you know, it's been percolating in the back of my mind of, okay, how am I going to do this? But really, ultimately, this stuff comes down to it, and we all know this better than anything. You set the table 50 times, and one time it's going to have that magic. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And so if you know, guys like Mike can keep setting the table with Gasso, like that's how it grows, is those moments with the Aaron Fox, those moments with, you know, the Titans, the moments, all those things. That's what grows it. And you just got to keep pushing to find those moments and do those great things. And that's truly what I've tried to do with FreeKeyThree. It's like, how can I take an OTR flyer and do something that, you know, hasn't been done before? And some of them don't always hit, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the reality. But when they do, it's like, shit, man, this is something just happened.
And so they don't hit to you. Like, for most people that don't know any idea how to do it, like
they always hit for me.
They always hit.
I just mean that magical moment. You know what I'm saying? Like that magical moment is the things that really like set us apart. The people who are really like having some success in the game. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Going from you know the away court advantage, and then the whole, you know, like you said, betting on yourself. You know, kind of after coaching. At what point did you? Because I look at it as I mean I even hit like, yo, who did this graphic? Like you've done some stuff for me. So at what point did you kind of realize, not so much that this is what you're really good at, but like, yo, I'm really like nationwide with it. I know you like New York Jayhawks, JL3, but at what point do you like, okay, I really got a lot going on here, and this is really like I'm at the peak of my game right now.
I mean, honestly, it was when I walked in the gym and Michael Timmons knew who I was. I was like, man, that was happening. You know what I'm saying? That's right. No, I mean, I think when people come to you and you don't have to come to them is one of the steps in the process, right? Like, when we start training, you go out and you get clients. And then you get to a certain point, clients come to you, right? You go out and recruit kids. But at some point in the high school game, and I think for the, you know, blue bloods and the elite college, I would think too, players come to you, right? You see Duke offer late on kids, right? You see them, like, before Shire came along, you know, Coach K's offering like 2 weeks before the, you know, signing day, he's out here offering kids and they're taking it. And so I think that's a stepping stone in your career, is when someone approaches you. I mean, you look at Glenn Smith. Glenn Smith has got, I would say, arguably the best event in high school basketball in Thanksgiving Hoop Fest, and what he's building is phenomenal. And there are dozens of great events, don't get me wrong, but I think, you know, even including, like McDonald's All-American Game, Jordan Brand Classic, Geico. I mean, he's in the conversation for even maybe better than that stuff. And for him to be like, hey, I want to talk to Ryan at FreeKeyThree, that's a moment where you're like, okay, like we've got something real here. But I will say, you know, I've kept a couple kind of older dudes that have been in the game, like a Lupe, you know what I'm saying? A couple of people I talk to on a regular basis. And I reached out to a buddy early on, and they said, like, this is all great, but you can be the cool kid at the table that gets to go to Peach Jam forever if you want. But at some point, like, I'm 39 years old with 4 kids and a wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, My wife has no patience for how cool I think Pete's channel is. And that's the next stepping stone, is how do you monetize what you're doing,
right?
You know what I'm saying, to grow something. And that's the challenge, you know what I'm saying? That's how I look at, what Texas Hoops TV has done. It's from a media standpoint, my view of Gasso was like, this is just like on the media side, it was like, this is bad at first, and then this, you know what I'm saying, and to see the growth is great, but then to see the business side of it doing well is what's phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's great. That stuff is just nuts.
Right. And
so how do you get to that next level? And I think that's something that we kind of mentioned talking about even with players in their own brand. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, it's cool to get free shoes from Center. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool. Like, if you got somebody's phone number who sends you stuff, that's awesome. But what difference is that going to make when you're my age? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, just kind of transition into that kind of branding idea. That's where we're all going, anyways.
Yeah. Right. On the same question I asked Mike, for a young person in branding and marketing, in the creation of kind of content, where should they go? Is it one of those things like, okay, should they be looking at what you do, or should they kind of start to look at like what may be coming in the future?
Right.
Right. So, what advice would you give someone who is up and coming in that same space as you?
I feel similarly like I did when I was a coach. You have to have an A skill, right? So, like, whatever it is, you can shoot the ball, you can rebound, you're ferocious, you got motor. I don't know what it is. My A skill is graphic design. I can take a photo that's okay. I can put a video together. But my A skill is graphic design. And if you want to be in this creative space, you've got to have an A skill. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to have a camera in your hand. Connecting people might be your A skill, right? Marketing ideas generally might be your A skill, but you have to have something that ultimately is going to set you apart from all of the other people that want what you have or are working to get what you know what I'm saying. How many people on Instagram have shots by whatever by their name?
Yeah.
I mean, there are
million.
Oh man, it's outrageous. Anytime we put a post out, I'm sure it's the same
shots
thing
by something.
for you guys.
Somebody.
Like, hey, we're looking for this, we're looking for interns, we're looking for whatever paid gig. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you have 50 people with the same exact portfolio applying. So I would say
that's a good point. Not to cut you off.
Yeah.
So when that happens, what separates?
What do you look for?
Yeah, what do you look for out of those 50 portfolios? It's a great kind of
honestly,
segue.
I look for something that's unique. I don't want to see, and some people might want to see this, and that's their prerogative, but I don't want to see lightning coming out of someone's ass. I don't. You know what I'm saying? I want to see, like, how good can you color grade something to make it look beautiful. We've got, on opposite ends of the table, we got two different priorities here, right? Which are both ultra valid, right? We need both of what we're doing. But Mike is giving a picture of a game in 5 minutes. Like a college coach or me, when I miss something, I can go watch
First thing, I'm pulling it up.
Right, that's right. And that is valuable. And so he's looking for something different than I'm looking for. But when I get 50 different people wanting to video it, Holiday Hoopsgiving or even Hoop Fest this year or whatever it is, I'm looking for how beautiful can you make a shot? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does your speed ramping look like? What does your technical skills look like, with that camera? And if you're not there yet, I'm happy to have a conversation. I've had pretty blunt conversations with young people of saying, this is what you need to work on if you want to be where I'm at. If you want to go the slam balls life route, that's different. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But that's not. There are, the same percentages of athletes that play that get to the NBA. It's the same percentage of creatives that get to the NBA also.
Yeah, for sure.
And none of them. I mean, like, very few of them come from the slam balls life tree. They just don't. So if you're telling me, like, you look at Roberto Hernandez, right? Photographer for the Mavs. He his photo for Paul Quinn, then went full freelance. He was working in the Mavs environment, which is where they give you, $50 to shoot a game, and all you're allowed to shoot is fans. And this dude comes in and just kills it. And now he's full-time photographer for the Mavs. You know how many full-time photographers there are in the NBA?
32?
No, less. Oh, not every team has a full-time, because your full-time creative might have to do graphic design, might have to do some video, might have to do some photo, might have to step in and do whatever. Roberto has carved out a niche for himself just in photo because he worked on his craft like crazy. So I want to see somebody that's willing to do that. That's what I'm looking for.
What about you, Mike? When you have to hire people to help with the Texas Hoops TV, with covering the state, what do you look for as far as people who can like help impact?
Yeah, for me, like obviously I value high quality.
Yeah.
I also know that, you know, I don't necessarily want to weed young videographers out because they don't have the money to spend on equipment. So a lot of times I'm peeping at events like, are you working? You know, it's cool to have community, but a lot of these young videographers want to just come and hang out.
Yeah.
And once you create content, for as long as we've created content, we very easily peep scene and who's posting and who's not.
Yeah.
So I can very easily see, okay, what type of work ethic, and with the values that the Gasto and I have, you know, it's all about, you know, I'm not doing mixtapes. I'm not trying to, none of my stuff on Texas Hoops TV is fluff. Could I grow our following faster if I made it a little more clickbait? Yeah. But I also know I have people that respect me, media, college coaches, that are coming to my game recaps to watch somebody dive for 50-50 loose balls, deflections, things like that. So I want to hire people that are willing. It's more about willing.
Okay.
Because you can go to the same game I'm going and post the top player score 30 points and post it on Instagram and keep it moving.
Yeah. Are
you willing to tell a story from the eyes that I have of the respect for the basketball game that I'm trying to get across? And if you're hungry, like I'll have fun with my videographers, but when it's time, hey, there's 30 seconds before this game's about to start, you better get over there.
Right.
So it's being prompt and things like that I'm looking for. So with me, I can't really get that vibe from when I ask for interns on social media. I usually know based off if I've seen your name before. With Ryan, he probably can look at their work a little more, because with the work I'm looking for, video, if you can hold a camera steady and it looks decent, we can have a conversation. So it's a little different from that perspective, but I'm peeping game. And like I do really, we have highs in this industry, and as I get older, I'm 31 now, my high is putting money in some of these young videographers' pockets and seeing something click.
Right. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Them knowing, hey, wait, I can make money without, like, just when they see how it works, just taking that valuable knowledge. But you know, I want to see you grind as well, so I don't just give everybody the opportunity.
I had the exact same thing when I started the company officially. When it became an entity in the state of Texas, FreeKeyThree, like one of my main goals was to pay people what they're worth in this business. Man, there are so many people that are just like, I've had, you know, grassroots dude email me or DM me and say, I want a graphic, I got $20. And I'm like, well, you got the wrong dude. Right. I mean, I'm not, like, we're talking, like, I'm charging 20, like, you know, like, I'm charging a lot more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot. And so, but like one of my goals as a business owner is to do less graphic design and build a, you know what I'm saying, and build a team where I can pay people what they're worth. When we're talking about, you know, coming in and filming a weekend event, that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, shoot, if some of these weekend events, like, you know, this dude, Marcus Sloan, puts 15 games a day. You know what I'm saying? No, if you got two gyms, and you know what I'm saying? Like, and, you know, we want to cover it, even from the creative side, we want to cover every single game. That's a lot of freaking work. You're working 2 days, you're putting in 30, 40 hours in those 2 days on, and plus, you know, the editing afterwards. Like, I'm trying to pay that person as much as I possibly can. And because of that, same way with your expectation about hard work, I'm expecting something that's elite. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just not hiring people for $500 a weekend because I don't want the person that's willing to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want the person who's like, man, I'm worth $2,000 because I'm gonna put out the most elite product possible, or even I'm gonna show up at 6 a.m.
Exactly. I'm
gonna film all these games. I mean, shoot, there was a situation last time where I fired a dude mid-game because we had our JL3 Moochie team, right? World champion Moochie Norris coaching our team on court 6 or whatever, and the kid is turned around filming Bronny on the main court. And it's like, hey, you got to go now. Like, you have to leave right now. Like, you can't even finish. I'm going to take your media pass away, and you have to leave. Or go pay to get in. And, you know, thing like, and that's, you know, that's one of those things when you're talking about, like, I love to hear what, you know, you're doing just like Coach Lanier, you know what I'm saying? Like, you are building up men, teaching them how to be professionals, how to show up on time, how to work hard, and those things, like, will do so much more for them than being able to put lightning on somebody's ass on a mixtape.
So what are some of the challenging things that you guys face as leaders of the industry, trying to put young guys on, put young people on? What are some of the challenges you face?
I mean, as social media grows, that word clout really gets stuck in
clout.
Sure. Clout gets stuck in people's mind. And you know, the one thing I'll say is, most of my industry with these videographers at these events are young kids.
Yep.
Until you feel that pressure of having to pay bills,
right?
Like, you're out there on a weekend because that's what you want to do. Right. But then when it's time, when you're 23, 24, maybe graduated college, maybe mom's just is like, hey, it's time for you to figure something out. Now you have nothing. You know you can film and you can make a mixtape, but them high school kids that were resharing your stuff in college and now already took it off their page, now you're stuck at zero.
Right.
So the hardest thing is, like, talking to them about it. And for me, I mean, I'm not here to try to save anybody, but it's more frustrating. Because as social media grows, TikTok grows, I mean, some of these young kids are getting a lot of viewerships on TikTok. They don't know what to do with it past that. They know they're getting a lot of thousands of views, but they don't really know what the next step is.
Yeah.
So for me, you know, right now I keep a good group around me, and, you know, some of them don't even go into this, but they take the values that we're learning. Like I said, I'm really big about being prompt, because it matters. Like, you've come up to me when you're doing one of your events, like, how'd you get that out so fast? Like, it's just, I'm just programmed to do that. It's just, it is what it is. So just the challenges with, I mean, my challenge is also social media. Like, it's a blessing and a curse. I think with all of us, I try to step away from social media a little bit more. I know what's going on, but I can't let it consume me. You know, I see what everybody's doing, and I see a lot of great things. But for me, it's kind of stepping aside, focusing on how do I better myself. And that's one thing, like, I know transitioning from that, but it's just grassroots social media is can be such a toxic place. You know, sometimes it takes the fun out of what I'm trying to do.
I would say that's one of my pieces of advice for a young dude is if you want to be a creative, right? And I would say even as a coach, honestly, use grassroots as fast and as much as you can and get out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're working full-time at SMU, right? That's a blessing. I mean, you hooked me up with TCU. Like, not many, I don't know how many people knew, but I did a whole year of TCU recruiting. You know what I'm saying? Like, boy, like Texas Hoops, y'all's videos were a lifesaver. I did tons of motion graphics because they would just give me a list of, here's our 25 targets. And it's like, there were so many things I could use from that to make motion graphics and put, you know, moments of that in those graphics. But use grassroots basketball to get out of grassroots basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no money in supporting your family. When you're 20, 22, 24, okay, great. Like, we all got to do it, right? We got to be grad assistants. We got to work as volunteer coaches. You know what I'm saying? We got to train kids on the side. You know, we got to do all those things when we're young. But have a plan and work it to where you're not the 40-year-old with a camera, you know what I'm saying, at, you know, some fall shootout. You know what I'm saying? Like, work it to where it gets you where you want to go. Because the clout does not. It just doesn't matter.
I think it's being more of a realist. Like, I didn't come into this game full-time in basketball. Obviously, that's everybody's dream. I see people all the time tweet looking for full-time work.
Right.
That's just not how it works. You know, I'm a digital marketing consultant. I do that outside of basketball still. So it's not all just sweet basketball. At 31 years old, and a lot of these kids think I'm going to graduate, I'm going to get a full-time job at SMU.
Right.
That's just not how it works.
Right.
You know, grassroots basketball, because of the demographic, there's not that much money to be made here. So you're blessed if you're able to. But, I mean, there's soccer, there's baseball, there's all these other different avenues my biggest advice is, you know, open doors. You know, some of them were closed, but keep opening doors and see what they're hitting for. So it's not, a lot of these kids get locked in a box. They're like, I'm gonna work for the Mavs.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm 19 years old, but I'm cold because the #1 player in the country just shared the video I made of him dunking.
Right.
Now I want a full-time job in the NBA. That's just not how it works.
Right.
So it's more about being realistic.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have to do you're gonna have to do the grad assistant work of getting away from. You're gonna have to go work a 9 to 5 and then go do a game at 7 p.m. to grind.
Yeah.
And
it's okay with it.
Like with the whole social media is such, you know, just trying to monetize and trying to continue to put out consistent, you know, content. A lot of times, because I've even had to do some of the stuff just my own for the AAU teams and etc. A lot of times you're working and you're underpaid for the type of hours and the stuff that you're going through, stress, time, late nights, stuff like that. So how much is the love of just, I guess, basketball, but also, you know, it's we most of the time we sit here and we just watch.
Yeah.
You guys are physically on a computer, editing software, like all of that stuff goes into play as well. So how much is the love of it just equally as important, especially when, if you want to make this a career, then it's a grind. It takes a while to kind of really turn the corner, kind of like you guys have done.
I think when you said earlier, like when your whole St. Mark's and ESD thing, like that was a high for you.
Right.
Like
absolutely.
I think we, as creators, find these highs.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm at Richardson and Lake Highlands last year and I see Trey Johnson
Yo,
down
I watched
20.
that as soon as you tweeted it. Like, yo, I need to see it.
Like, so I know that's a Friday night. I know I can go out.
Smoked up.
I know I can have a drink and go out, but I know there's a moment in games where I'm like, I can't wait to get that to YouTube.
Right.
Like, and because my mind's, I'm more branding. I know kind of what my audience is. I know what's gonna hit. So for me, it's like, let me get, because I'm parked a mile and a half down because the game's so crazy. Let me get to my car. Let me get home and let me get this up by 11.
It's funny you say that. I'm gonna let Ryan speak, but that's how I feel when like Ryan gives me a graphic.
Yeah.
Yo,
Hey,
this shit can be fucking wrong. Right? You can have the wrong date, no date. No. I'm saying but what I'm saying is, let's say I gave him the wrong info, or I forgot to put a date. When he creates it, I'm so geeked, dog.
Yeah, right.
This is done.
And for that, and because
He'll
done,
be like, yo, don't have a date. Oh, so then I delete it, take it down. You know,
but when that's done for
that's
you,
my high.
That
you know?
high propels you to make your event even better.
Yo,
all that stupid stuff, whatever the score sheets and stuff, like you're ready to eat.
Dog,
you're ready.
You send me a flyer, I'm in my bag immediately.
Yeah.
I'm like this. Now, boom, I'm ready. I'm cooking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm. That's my high. So when you talk about like, yo, you gotta put on YouTube, he'll send me something I'm like, or a reel or a video. I'm like, oh yeah, this is. I'm like, yo, is it ready? It's complete. I'm gonna send it. Let me put it out, because that's, again, and for me, Ryan may send me a graphic or a reel or a video for one event, but really it's for the next 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I mean? When people see that, they be like, oh damn. So in my mind, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna kill him with this Houston tip-off, but really it's for the fucking spring event.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They're gonna have all this content from this. It's gonna like travel for
Because
that.
the expectation.
So now it's like, yo, he had the reels, he had XYZ for this event. I know the next 3 events are gonna be
dope.
Dope. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the fun part of it. It's like it's our club. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fun to go out. You know what I'm saying? It's fun to have a drink. It's fun to all do all those things. But now you see that thing go live, and it's like, okay.
I was in not Augusta, the Birmingham, Alabama, 2 summers ago with Ryan and Dawson, right? And so I was tired, like you talked about. I'm watching games, I'm tweeting shit. Like, we go in the media room, they got the laptops up, dog, and like they
we
were busy.
We were grinding. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mikey came in that room, we were like, man, can't even talk to him. Get out of here.
Like they're grinding, like uploading shit, putting it out, like getting the content out. And I'm like, damn, dog, like I'm tired just watching and doing my little tweet shit, my little notes. I can't imagine.
Dog, that stuff is hard, man.
Filming shit, sitting down. Dawson says Indian style.
Yeah.
No, like people don't understand.
He does,
bro. Dog, you got some Indian style, bro. Like I've seen you see Indian style.
Oh, you ain't
like,
seen me, but that's alright.
No, I mean
no,
but I'm saying like standing for 2 hours, hour and a half, dog. Like yo, you standing Indian style filming that shit, having to get in your car, go to the media room, upload that shit, no break, ain't no food.
On Premiere, Photoshop.
Right.
Yo, getting busy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what people don't see.
And got to get it out at a certain time.
Yo,
otherwise,
quickly,
it's kind of like.
Oh yeah.
And then you got guys like me, like on your ass. Hey, dog, I need that content, right? Yo, motherfucker had a break for 10 hours. Yo, you know what I'm saying? But yo, I need it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't think people see that and appreciate that. Like, that's why I wanted to bring you guys on, so people can like understand that, and so people can like really give y'all flowers. Like, yo, you guys.
The reason we
listen. Like Trey Johnson is a good player. Like some of these kids are great players for sure, no question. They're gonna get some of this shit anyway, but you guys propelled them to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yo, dog, that shit at Gasso. I mean at TABC, Trey Johnson versus Duncanville. I like how Duncanville. If there are no videos for that,
right.
Who sees that, bro?
Yeah.
Unless you were there.
Right.
Somebody got to upload that content. So now it's 70 coaches talking about it, the media talking about it. But when that video, when the content goes out, it heightens it.
Right.
And we are in this state have been very, very, very fortunate.
Think about it in the last couple of years, how many teams have had like guys who are personally videoing for them to help. Like I got this kid. Social media single-handedly has, or like not social media, but guys being able to video and put graphics. When you talk about branding, branding your AAU team, branding your high school team, branding the individual, single-handedly. It's almost to the point where it is necessary now.
Listen,
you have to have it, otherwise somebody doesn't want to play for you.
My whole fucking brand. I had people come just take pictures of my outfits.
That's elite.
Yo, take pictures of my outfits when I have on. Shoot videos of me. But you know what it does? It's a part of my brand, dog. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That allows me to go another level, other places, which will in turn help me make more money.
Mm-hmm. We're both like, it's interesting. So we got the FreeKeyThree thing going with the SMU. You got the TechSoup thing, but we are also not competitors, but like on the same stage at the EYBL. He's with Pro Skills, right?
I do some stuff.
You know what I'm saying? Do some stuff with Pro Skills, right? I do stuff with JL3. And we are setting the tone. You know what I'm saying? Like
1,000%.
That's the thing. Like, we talk about things you get excited about. That's stuff I get excited about. Like a year ago, like John Lucas has made a significant investment in what we do, more than anybody else in the country.
And I think he's seen what happens.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, we had Bryce last year, we had Terrence last year, we had a good team. No one thought we would do anything. So we had some magic moments, right? Like I talked about earlier, which was great. We beat Dior in Vegas Elite, right? That was a huge magic moment. You got Terrence hugging his mom. There's a picture that goes viral, gets 300,000 views. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, like, last year, you've got maybe Hugo with Team Why Not, one guy, right? And you've got, I mean, who else on the EYBL was full-time with anyone? Right? I'm just Hugo.
Well, I know Gary was baller plug was with the hoops.
But that was just this year.
But he doesn't he just like, it's a different level. It's a different type of coverage. What I'm saying is from like we're putting out game recaps, we're putting out player of the game, we're putting out halftime, final score, pictures, videos, everything. We are covering it like they cover the Rockets.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep. Correct.
That's the model.
Yep.
And we're doing that for a high school Nike team. And you know, we had the Jayhawks the previous summer as a test subject, right? Like how do we do it? They got 2,800 followers, and yet we get 500,000 views in a weekend. We're like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But we look at last summer, and it's us, a team of 3 people, which is 3 times as many as anybody else got. And then this summer, shoot, they got the Rins people, which, by the way, New York Rins do a great job. You know what I'm saying? You got you with Pro Skills. You know what I'm saying? Merrick's running around with Drive Nation doing a great job with Ricky. You know what I'm saying? Like, We've got our team went from 3 to 5.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is unprecedented. We got 5 people getting media passes at EYBL events.
That's crazy. Yo,
you talk about having to pull strings.
Media, fucking EYBL, I have not gotten the media pass yet. That's another story.
But you know what I'm saying? But then we got, Hugo's is grown his team out there for Team Why Not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Strive's got Cam, and they even brought in one of my dudes, Raw Jules, in for a couple of events. All of a sudden, like, what you did for Texas Hoops TV and Gasso and pushing it in that space, like I'm having the opportunity to push, you know what I'm saying, on that different platform.
And at the time where it has to be done because, especially
it's
in Texas,
coming.
It's here.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yo,
Like now, we're putting
here.
the cameras, we're putting the microphones in these players' faces. We're building their brands because we know that NIL stuff is.
I feel like Mike Timmons saved Gasso.
Oh, I absolutely agree, wholeheartedly.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not that I'm OTR Exposure as a competitor. I like Sam and Blue, but like when you're in the space, sometimes you feel like you see someone's in your sight, and you're like, "Yo, if they don't improve, it's gonna catch
Something's gonna happen.
Something's gonna happen."
Right, absolutely.
Like it's almost like hunting. Yo, Mike, during the pandemic, they did the not the Sweet 16, the tournament y'all did.
Oh, the On the State.
Yeah,
Yo,
heck yeah.
The On the State, it was like, ooh, motherfucker. That's good.
That was really good.
That
was really good. Really good. Case and Wallace.
You know what I'm saying? Like, ooh, that's good.
Keontae.
I saw now with the podcast, I'm like, But you can see the Michael Timmons effect.
Right.
Brand.
Like, let's talk real quick. Let's really get into it and give, like, I'm gonna praise you here real directly.
No, for sure.
Section 7 is outrageous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Outrageous.
Yes.
And they hired David Sosna, who is arguably a top 5 creative in the world for sports. Right? As far as, like, when you look at who, if I'm trying to go out, let's say I got $5,000 to hire a videographer, whoever I hire, David Sosna is their favorite videographer. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the most elite people. They hired David Sosna, and I'm telling you right now, your work was 10 times better than what they put out.
I ain't gonna lie.
It was.
I ain't even seen
I've
no
never
Section
seen nothing
7
from Section
shit.
7. I haven't
That's
seen
what
anything.
I'm saying.
I haven't seen
It's not
anything,
just because
dog.
we're in Texas, because I'm trying to see everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the testament to what you're doing with Gasso and with Texas Hoops TV. Is, man, we are all of a sudden, we're seeing not just games, we're seeing not just highlights, we're seeing personal interest stories, we're seeing podcasts. I'm getting to know who kids are on and off the court, and that's the stuff that's compelling, and that's phenomenal, man.
And what I'll say back to you, because, I mean, you don't miss in my eyes. And for somebody that understands the programs you use, and I know I can't do it like you, I'm like, how does he, like, you have to do so many of these, and you probably get tired of doing them, but to us, you don't miss. I'm like, how did he come up with that concept? But what I'll say is, in a world where you're doing the stuff, and the JO3, I feel like, sets the bar for everything.
I appreciate
and in a time and space where now everybody's starting to realize they need it,
right.
you have to be even better because so many people are trying to come. And you are even better when everybody knows they have to do it.
Right.
So now you're seeing it, you're sitting at the top, just like, hey, like, you continue. How does that motivate you?
Honestly,
like, how do you get better?
Honestly, I think that the level of client has, that's what drives me to improve, right? So we're going to do a phenomenal job for JO3, and I'll have a relationship with Coach Lucas as long as he'll allow us to have a relationship. But the reality is we're limited there in a way that we're not limited at SMU.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But the next level, and we got some things in the works I can't really talk about yet, but the next level, we're less limited when we work with leagues than we are when we work with programs. And we're less, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll just state it right now so that I'm putting that goal out there. I want a FreeKeyThree representative on the field in the World Cup. It's coming to Dallas.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
Yeah.
And it's like, you talk about how to be motivated. Like, I'm talking about the biggest event in the world, and I want a person there, right? I'm going to put Andrew Hancock on the field at the World Cup. And then we're going to come back and we're going to do a podcast and be like, can you believe that shit just happened? You know what I'm saying? And so that's the motivation of saying, like, you know, we're not going to be able to fly an FPV drone through Peach Jam. They're just not going to let us. So we can't elevate technology-wise so far, right? So we have to elevate, like, what's next? Ultra high production, you know what I'm saying? Like, when Li-Ning makes a U.S., you know, marketing push, it's like we want to be in the conversation about, okay, how do we do this commercial?
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And, like, continuing leveling up in those ways with those relationships is something that really motivates me. I talked about not wanting to do less graphic design. You know what I'm saying? I want to be out making those relationships and making that happen.
That's what I can hear in your voice. Like the first thing you said, you didn't say you want to be at the World Cup. You already have names in mind. Like you create a brand, and that's where the confidence and there's no insecurity with you.
No.
I think a lot of us, like I've been a little longer for myself, like I want it to be my video.
Mm-hmm.
But once as you get older and you trust yourself and your concept and your vision, you know that you just can teach somebody your vision.
Right.
It doesn't have to be your work.
Yeah.
Like I don't need the recognition. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's those small highs as well.
I think that's the when you own something. Same thing when you have ownership of Texas Hoops TV, right? Like you're proud of where it's going.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
If we've got Hoop Fest and Hoopsgiving and City of Palms and Paradise and all these things that people would like for us to be involved. How many ever we choose, like any week, like I think there was a weekend last year, we had 5 events in one weekend. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so I can't be everywhere. I can't make every single thing. But really, like my pride is like what I'm building.
Yeah.
And that's where it's at. Like your pride is, you know what I'm saying, hey, we're covering everything. Mm-hmm. Like that's, like, it's hard for me to wrap my brain around like how great of a job you're doing because you look at this event that's got 8 games at a time on 6 courts. Like if I had to give someone a quote for that, you know, like we're at like 60, 70 grand for a weekend. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you're doing that. And that's wild, man. So yeah, it's leveling up, you know, in those specific ways gets me excited.
Absolutely.
Guys, I appreciate you both, really, man, for joining Sloan Cold Facts today. The title of this episode is Free the Creatives. And you guys are 2 of the best in the country. You represent the state of Texas in an enormous way. We want to give you your props, your flowers, let you know you guys are really holding the state down and elevating the state with your content and with the things you do for the state of Texas. We appreciate you. Sloan Cold Facts, episode 5, Free the Creatives. Michael Timmons, Texas Hoops TV.
Appreciate y'all.
Ryan Parker, FreeKeyThree, Marcus Sloan, Chris Hines. We out of here.